Welcome, wrestling fight fans. I am Michael Buffer. No, I'm not. I am Tequila, the Body Ventura, joined again for episode 4 of the No Cell Wrestling podcast. I'm joined by Rebelhausen. Are you not Rebelhausen this week, then, Rebel?
No, I'm ripping the Viper today, Mr.
Nice. Nice. And of course, Alan, we still need to get you the TED avatar for you, don't we? We need to get
I need a TED one.
You do.
Everybody's got a prize.
So we got four new topics for you. Obviously, Raw was on Monday, so we'll start with the most recent stuff, which is Raw, and we can talk about something that happened on Raw that I think is an interesting separate topic all by itself, because there's a lot of theories, and I've got a theory of my own. I don't know if people are going to like it or not. But we'll start on Raw. I have seen the highlights as I normally do, and I can't sit down and watch the weekly shows. I've got to wait until they're recorded, and then I'll skim through it. That's the only way I can take it nowadays. Alan, you want to start on this one? Have you seen it? You seen Raw?
I did watch Raw. As per usual, I normally sit there, I watch the first segment, and then I wander off and do other things and have it on the background.
Yeah.
The show kicked off with the Masked Man charging to the ring. Seth Rollins Masked Man, and then Seth Rollins appears unmasked himself, and after which, Paul Heyman comes to the ring. So much booze. Paul Heyman looks very dishevelled in a good makeup. I must admit, good makeup on Paul Heyman. After which, Paul Heyman brings out the Beast, Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
And then we think we're going to get
Alan. Did you think we'd be getting Rollins versus Brock? Just sorry to interrupt you. Did we all think we'd be getting Rollins versus Brock when it came out at WrestleMania?
Well, there was an inkling that I thought that maybe because Bron's out,
So did
Bronson's out, Bron Breaker's out. Are we really going to do Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins again? I thought, well, maybe we might get that. And then obviously, but then again, the Brock Lesnar challenge we had he put out a couple of weeks ago. He wanted that Undertaker style open challenge thing, and I thought, well, no, if he's going to come out and basically get in the face of Seth Rollins, that's not really an open challenge, is it? That's basically them nixing their idea already, which, considering WWE is in kind of like a bit of a turmoil at the moment, I thought maybe they've just nixed it. But no. Brock comes out. Within a minute, he destroys the Masked Man. One of them takes a really, really nasty German suplex to the barricade. I don't know if you noticed that one. It's
good.
He holds his head quite immediately and thinking, well, hopefully he's all right. Then obviously Brock gets in the ring. Rollins, to his credit, doesn't back down. He basically stands his ground to the Beast. Lights go down. Who's this coming out? Oba. And the crowd go wild. This man is over. Oba Femi is over with the Raw fans and even the SmackDown fans. So he's at the moment on the main roster. Oba is over in his popularity, should we say? So he comes to the ring, picks up Brock, impressive, picks him up, dumps him like a bad habit, and then puts his foot on him, points to the sign. There's your open challenge. It's accepted. It is as they say, as Adam Pearce would say. It's official. We are getting Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Okay, continue. I mean, we can talk about it. Do you want to talk about that segment, or do you want to do it one at a time? Rebel, what? I'll go to you very quickly about the Brock stuff. You think you mentioned it either last week or the week before that you kind of wanted this match. It looks like you are going to get it. I personally want to see him F5 and pinned. I understand that I'm in the minority. I don't see yet because he's a young guy. I don't see yet what everyone else sees. Maybe the more I watch of him, maybe I'll come around. But right now, I feel like I'm watching the Vince McMahon WWE, where the guy with the big body is getting the Vince McMahon push. That's what I personally see. As of right now, and I didn't like it under Vince, so I'm not going to change my tune and like it now. So there's a part of me just wants to see him F5. I expect him to beat Brock because I don't think they're not going to bury him. They're way too high on him to bury him. But I don't see what a lot of people see yet. So, Rebel, do you want him to just beat Brock then? Is that what you and Alan want? I'm curious. Is that what you want to say?
I suppose just kind of talking about the segment, I just have a funny feeling that maybe the intention was to have some sort of a Seth versus Brock thing, but I'd imagine what we're seeing now is there was an acceptance that Seth is not going to be ready for WrestleMania, and that the best they could do with him is have him involved in non-wrestling related on-screen footage. Maybe he might prove us wrong and end up going for a match. I don't know, but in terms of Oba, I suppose what they've got at the moment is a bit of a gold mine. Oba is so far over with the crowd right now that they cannot afford to fumble it. If his career peters out later, that's probably a calculated risk that they're willing to take. But you do not bring Oba out, have him give Brock Lesnar, the guy that took the streak, the guy that has been seen as the beast incarnate and the destroyer in WWE for the last, I don't know, decade, over two different periods or three different periods, depending on how you want to count these comebacks. They're not going to have Brock do all that and Brock willingly kind of work so hard. Like you saw the sell that Brock gave Oba, I guess, on Monday night. He did everything to put Oba over as an absolute demon. And like that bump, I would not have liked to be up in the height of the air that Oba put Brock Lesnar, a man that probably weighs the combined amount in muscle mass as the three of us combined here in this studio tonight, down on the ground and absolutely pancake him. And not only that, he then said, "Step on me," when you're pointed to the sign. Because Brock does not do that lightly. He kind of does it when he feels like doing it, and he's done it for Oba. There's absolutely no point in doing all that if you're going to have Oba lose. I don't care if they kind of do a forced finish where they make him look strong or kind of have him go blow for blow and hitting them with the collection of their hardest hits. Anything other than a loss for Brock Lesnar, and WWE have basically said, actually doing what we did there, putting them over last night on Monday Night Raw was absolutely for nothing. I think it's going to be interesting. Like I do have a concern with WWE. I do enjoy the big, beefy, burly destroyers, but I don't think there's enough of the bouncy ones, the ones that do, as some wrestling fans call it, the flippy shit and the high-risk maneuvers. I don't think we have enough of that in WWE, and we need to find that balance. But when it comes to WrestleMania, I think you're not going to see anything other than possibly maybe Rollins being a jackass on the sideline trying to get under Heyman's skin. It's going to be a 1, 2, 3 for the ruler, because anything else, and they may as well release him.
My follow-up question is, now Brock has been a protected entity for most of his career. He doesn't do jobs that often, and when he does, there's normally a pattern to it. He put over Drew McIntyre as requested, but he then was gone for a couple of years, and then he came back, squashed Cena at WrestlePalooza, won the War Games match, and hasn't done anything since. Well, he was in the Royal Rumble, but he had a very poor Royal Rumble showing. As we know, they eliminated him during Jey Uso's entrance. So that means for me that the reason that he destroyed Cena, right, and which I've got no problem with. I'm fine with it. But they're transferring that heat to Obafemi. So they have decided, them being the WWE brass, and maybe Brock had a say. We don't know. Maybe Brock was said, "Were you willing to do it?" And maybe Brock said, "Yeah, all right, I'll polish the kid up," right? And that's fair enough. But I don't know if he deserves it, because someone like Brock Lesnar is almost a dying breed. WWE, in my opinion, is starting to lack star power. All their stars are starting to get much older. Now, the wrestlers can last much longer than they used to in the old days. They can wrestle into their 50 or so. CM Punk's in his last run. Brock Lesnar's in his last run. Roman Reigns ain't no spring chicken. Cody Rhodes ain't no spring chicken. These dudes are all 40 plus. And granted, they don't wrestle as often as they used to in the old days. And with sports science and everything, yes, they will. They on average they will last longer. But we are seeing a point where a lot of the old established stars are now on their last runs. So they need to be very careful who they pass their legacies onto almost, right? And if Brock, so I don't know if Obafemi is, I accept that he's over and that is a part of it. But I don't know if he's got the longevity. That what worries me is that if he's got the longevity, because I haven't seen enough of his promos for me to know if he's got that part. He's a good power wrestler, but I don't see anything particularly amazing. And I don't know if he's going to be a tippy top guy. Now, I don't know this, but I don't know if he's the right one to be given. Because Brock Lesnar, if this is Brock's last year, he might not have any more matches other than SummerSlam. Or this could be the second to last Brock's last match. Because if he loses to Obafemi, which he probably will, he'll then probably wrestle Gunter at SummerSlam. Most likely, I think that Gunter retires it. I think they're going to continue that trend. So this could be the penultimate Brock match. This could be his match before his last match. This and then one more at SummerSlam. I don't think he's going to wrestle after WrestleMania until SummerSlam. So we have to be really picky with who you're transferring his heat to. And I don't know if Obafemi... There's other guys, I think, who have been there longer, in my opinion, who are just as over and have shown me more, who I think need that extra rub to get to the next level. I can think of a handful of guys who I think you should. Obafemi is almost not that he's jumping the turn because you need to put these guys over, but it just seems like it's a hot shot. It's a very risky hot shot move. I think Obafemi in the olden days, Rebel and Allen, they used to give Guy the IC title. They'd have a long IC title reign, and the IC title was like a test run for the world title, but they don't do stuff like this. That I'm a little bit concerned that they're going to hot shot this guy who's still very green and his limitations are going to start showing. And long term, it could end up hurting him because the fans will reject people if they feel that people are being shoved down their throats. I know because I'm one of them. I don't let WWE tell me who to cheer for. I choose who I cheer for. I choose who I think's a big star. They don't dictate that way to me, and they shouldn't to a lot of the older fans as well. But that's just my concern, and I'm rabbiting on a bit, but that's my concern. I don't know if he's the right one. If this is Brock's last job other than Gunter, that's a lot to put on a young kid. That's all I'm saying. I think maybe Obafemi could have spent a year. I know he's been in NXT, but he's very green. I think he needed maybe a bit more seasoning before such a high profile match, but I could be wrong. Alan, finish up what you were saying, but sorry, me and Rebel kind of cut in.
Oh, with Brock and Femi.
Yeah. So that was the opening segment, wasn't it? That was the big opening segment.
Yeah.
What else did you enjoy in Raw?
What else did I enjoy in Raw? Penta had a great match against Dragon Lee, defending the IC title. Of course, the Judgment Day were trying to get involved. JT McDonough was trying to speak to Adam Pearce about it, and Adam Pearce was like, "Well, I can't give Dom a title match because he's not here. He's injured because of the AAA event at the weekend." Where Dom defended his AAA Mega Championship. Where does he almost there? For some reason, I don't know. It's weird, strange.
Almost, Alan.
Yeah, almost a star. So I think it's well, we had AJ Lee versus Bailey. That was weirdly on a Raw.
I thought that was a decent match considering.
Yeah, but it was great that as soon as Raw started and you saw CM Punk and AJ Lee walking out, the graphic comes up: AJ Lee versus Bailey for the Women's IC Championship, and Michael Cole's like, "Yes, AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch." And I'm thinking, what? Huh?
Well done, Cole. Another classic.
Well done,
Michael Cole.
Yeah, that's it. Why don't you ruin the WrestleMania match? Why don't you? Because of course, after the match, after AJ Lee puts Bailey in, the Black Widow taps her out. She does a little circuit around the ring, does a second circuit around the ring. I thought, okay, maybe Becky Lynch is going to get her in a minute. No, she gets around a second time. Good. And she's walking up the aisle. Typical Becky Lynch from behind, boots her, and that's it. So that's going to be our women's IC title match for WrestleMania. Yeah. As we as we all suspected. I don't think none of us thought anything else other than this. What else do we have? Sorry,
I still don't want it. I'm sick of the belt swapping hot potato. I really don't want to see.
Yeah,
I want, if we are going running AJ Lee versus Becky back, I actually want AJ to stop the belt before WrestleMania.
No chance, Trevor.
Yeah, unfortunately, no chance.
There's no way that Becky Lynch agreed to this feud if she wasn't going to at least win one match. There's no way that she goes 0-4 against AJ Lee. She's already 0-3 against her. She's tapped out to AJ Lee 3 times. There's no way in hell that Becky Lynch ain't winning that belt back. I knew it right away. I knew right away this is what they were going to do. It's exactly
very true. Very, very true.
Sorry, Alan. Go on, continue.
What else do we have? We had the two El Grande Americanos against each other. Which was
is it time one. Guys, is it time? I'm a big fan of Chad Gable. I don't think he's particularly charismatic, but he reminds me of a not as good version of Kurt Angle, if I'm honest. I think he deserves a bit better than this, personally. I'm not saying he should be world champion. I'm not saying that. But I think he'd make a very good secondary title holder, and I think he, I think this whole mask stuff, I think, because obviously he was injured, so obviously Kaiser took over and everything like that. I just feel like he's been kind of stuck in this kind of rut for it. I would have thought he would have been at least an IC champion by now, or second champion. And I personally don't particularly like it. I like Chad Gable, but I don't. I think Kaiser's okay. I think Kaiser's okay under it, but I think Gable should be. I think Gable's should be treated a bit more seriously. That's the word
I think he should be. How he hasn't become a singles champion is weird. The man is very talented. He's a great mat wrestler. That German suplex he does. He runs him into the corner, and then the fact he did that to Braun Strowman a few years back, amazing feat of strength, amazing. The man can wrestle, and there's not many of them on the current roster now.
Not with his style, no. Not with his style.
No, he does great mat wrestling. So yeah. I was really thinking they'll do this El Grande thing as a throwaway match at WrestleMania or something. I mean, it's typical, WrestleMania goofiness, isn't it? Two Americanos and then the loser getting unmasked or something, and maybe that's where
that might be where the feud ends up.
Alan, yeah, that's where Kaiser once probably beats Chad Gable's one and unmasks him, and that's it.
Yeah,
and then that's the end of that particular character, leaving Ludwig Kaiser to carry on, or Marcel Partel. That was a better name.
Yeah, I agree.
Other than that, we had Stephanie Vaquer versus Raquel Rodriguez, and I'm only calling it that. I'm not referring to her as Big Sexy. I'm sorry, guys. Right, it looks like I'm saying the unpopular opinion to Ryan, bless you, in the chat. I don't see the appeal in Stephanie Vaquer. What is it? I want you guys to sell me. What is it that I'm not seeing that everyone sees with her? What is it that I'm not seeing? Because I don't think she's particularly attractive. I'm not saying that's all that matters, but I've heard a lot of people do. I don't see that personally. I don't think she's an amazing wrestler. I think she's okay. That move she's got, the one that is it the Devil's Kiss? Devil's Kiss, yeah, the one that sends Booker T over the edge.
I've never seen such. That reminds me of the People's Elbow when The Rock started doing it. It's almost like it's a gag. It's a gag, right? Right, because I don't understand how that gets a reaction. When I saw it and the crowd were going crazy for it, I was mystified. I was like, "This is the first time these people are watching professional wrestling. You're going crazy over that move." And I just thought, I'm sorry. I know I don't hate the girl. I'm sure she's a lovely girl, and she's a decent. I'm not saying she's not a decent wrestler. She is, but she doesn't stand out for me in the slightest. Like there's many other women who are good wrestlers as well, right? Who at least I think can cut. She can't cut a promo. It's not her fault. She can't speak English, but she can't cut a promo. She's got none of that entertainment factor for me. She's just a good wrestler, and they're fine to have on the roster. I'm not saying that they don't have a place. But I just don't see again all this mass. She's a women's champ. I hope Liv Morgan takes that title because Liv Morgan's got charisma. She's probably not as good a wrestler as Vaquer, but she's got everything else going for her. She's got a better look and she's got charisma and she can cut a promo. So I hope Liv Morgan needs to win. They need to get that belt off Stephanie Vaquer. Maybe Vaquer needs a mouthpiece or something. because she can't do that part of it, in my opinion.
Give her a Kiana James.
Yeah, neither can Io Sky. She's very much like Io Sky. Io Sky is a very good wrestler. She can't cut a promo either.
I don't understand the infatuation with Io Sky.
So now you know how I feel about Vakir.
As soon as I hear that music of Io Sky, my life drains out of my body. She needs to change that theme. That theme is awful.
Can I put it out there, though? Yeah. Years ago, not too long ago, actually, when Rhea Ripley and others were kind of in the main scene, people would have argued that Liv Morgan's wasn't exactly setting the world on fire in terms of her promos, wasn't exactly kind of hitting the mark in terms of in-ring. But she was able to change, she was able to adapt, and we'd see a different Liv Morgan now than, say, 3-4 years ago.
With Liv Morgan, I still think she's not the most polished wrestler. She's certainly gotten better, to her credit. She has gotten better. But I think I'm with you that wrestling, she reminded me a little. I thought she was very much like Alexa Bliss. Like, she had a good look. She was very good, or at least she was okay at promos. Her promo skill also, to be fair, Rebel, you are right. Her promo skill and her wrestling have both improved with her quite a lot. So that's, you know, and she deserves credit because apparently she was one of the reasons why they went with her is because apparently she's got a really good work ethic backstage. You know, none of us know the girl, but that's apparently the reason why they were so up on her. But she really has. If there's been a most improved woman over the last couple of years, I don't think you can give it to anyone else other than Liv Morgan. Overall, she's improved every aspect of her game. So, but you're right. She wasn't pulling up trees a couple of years ago in both the promo or the in-ring. She's gotten better on both. That's the truth, I think.
Yeah, and you have to give credit to the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. They absolutely set her up for success, and she took advantage of it.
I'll tell you that's what helped her as well, Rebel. I think that when she was a babyface, I think that she struggled. As soon as she turned heel, though, and started feuding with Rhea Ripley, that's when this kind of bitch version of her came out. And we all know it's easier to play a bad guy than it is a good guy, right? And we all know what generally happens in wrestling. The pattern is you're a bad guy who gets popular, and then you turn into a massive babyface. That's how it always goes. That's how it was for Steve Austin. That's how it was for The Rock. And that's normally the way it goes. Normally you end up expressing yourself as a heel because they've got more freedom. Then people start liking you. Then you turn babyface. That's generally the method. There's a couple of exceptions. I mean, even Hogan was a heel before he became a babyface. And that's normally the way it goes for all the big stars. They normally start off as heels, then they get popular and they turn face. So Liv Morgan, speaking of that, Liv Morgan is going to turn face soon. She'll be the next one who leaves the Judgment Day. So that's what I think.
Yeah,
what else then, Alan? Obviously the main event. Got to talk about.
Other than obviously the main event segment, one standout thing was a backstage segment between Kofi Kingston and G-Von Evans, where G-Von was offered a role in the New Day and mentorship by Kofi. Of course, G-Von turns him down, and who turns up? Danhausen. This guy's growing on me. I think I find him goofy. I find him comical. It's kind of what we need at this time. You know, he's someone who's never going to be taken seriously.
I have no problem with him interacting with the low carders.
Yes,
just keep him away from the serious main event guys. That's all I ask. That's my.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what will happen. I'm sure that's what they'll keep him at that level.
But you know, I still think though, even at the top level, when you have something like Halloween Havoc, I think you can afford to let him go nuts and actually do whoever he wants, whether it's the biggest name in NXT or whether it's the lowest name in NXT, because you're dealing with something that's in his wheelhouse as his character. You're kind of going, okay, it's Halloween Havoc, go nuts. But the other side of it as well is, I think apparently they're working with him in terms of his in-ring. So maybe we start seeing him being a US title or an intercontinental title contender at some point, you know, putting him in qualifying matches and that sort of thing. But I think they're going to have to be very careful with how they use him, because obviously Grayson Waller was the latest victim in that segment of the curse, because Kofi threw him under the bus, for want of a better word, and put him in direct snap of it. But like that will wear thin with people if that's all he does. He's a great merch seller, and I think even if you looked at a podcast that JBL did during last week, he actually took direct line of sight at people like Ronda Rousey who turned up in AEW in this past couple of days. He said, I would rather get in the ring with the top merch seller, the one that prints money for t-shirts, than someone that is accomplished in the ring but does not have the ability to sell a shirt and does not understand the business. Because he says, if you give me the top merch seller, I can make money with that person in the ring.
I think that was if memory serves me correct, that was a little dig at Ronda Rousey, because Ronda Rousey said, I think last year or earlier this year, she took a shot at Alexa Bliss in particular, and she was just like, they had me fight Alexa Bliss, who's like too small and wasn't menacing at all, and the reason they gave is because she was the top merchandise seller. That's why they put you in a ring with her, and she didn't get it for reasons like you've just and JBL said. She didn't get the fact, she didn't understand why she had to wrestle Alexa Bliss. He was not the best wrestler, but she sells a lot of shit because a lot of guys want to bang her. This is the truth. A lot of guys want to bang her. A lot of girls like the kind of the small kind of, it's a woman that they think they can be because she's a small girl. So a lot of girls look up to her and will buy the Lily doll and all that stuff, right? So she sold all this shit, and that's why she was in a ring with Ronda Rousey. And Ronda Rousey just didn't get it. That's what I think JBL was talking about. That's what it sounds like he's referencing.
Yeah, but indirectly, though, he's also kind of given Danhausen a sort of approval, a JBL sort of approval, because at this moment in time, Danhausen can sell shit. He's got the top-selling T-shirt, the second top-selling T-shirt, and I think possibly after the cold Steve Hausen gimmick, he'll have the third top-selling T-shirt. So at the moment, Danhausen prints money, and they're going to put in people with a certain level of notoriety engaging with him, because at the moment, he is what sells. And the people that know the business will understand why they have to wrestle Danhausen, even though he is not necessarily going to be taken as a serious in-ring competitor.
Yeah, I'm okay with the stuff he's doing. I don't mind him in small spurts. But he is going to have a program with CM Punk because they're best friends in real life. So I have to prepare myself for when it inevitably happens. I think Punk's smart enough to know how far to push it, but I'm not going to like it. I know I won't. I like their stuff they do on YouTube because it's not really on the TV. It's a little gag. But when they start interacting, and they will at some point, because they're, like I say, they're best mates, I know I'm not going to like it. So I need to prepare myself for that, because I've just said I don't want him getting involved with top guys, and on that occasion he will be, but we'll have to see how they handle it. Alan, let's get to the main event segment. We still have two more topics. We won't talk about the Orton stuff. That'll be its own topic. We'll talk about it in a sec. The main event segment. I'll give my thoughts. For me, it was the worst one yet. The other two were much better than this. I don't know exactly what they're going with CM Punk's character, because I thought it was like, oh, now it's this week for Roman to get the upper hand, and I just didn't buy it. CM Punk's so Roman Reigns called him old, and that puts Punk over the line. I don't buy it. That does not fit his character, in my opinion. That doesn't fit his character. I wish they would have done something else. And there's rumors going around, guys, that apparently they changed the script near the end, and apparently he was meant to mention Punk's dog Larry, which would have made sense, who died recently, as a rebuttal for Punk's comment about his dad. But apparently they changed that. I don't know. Maybe Punk said, "Hey, I don't want you doing it." I don't know, but that's what the rumors were. And then they went with this old stuff. And I thought to myself, that's weak. CM Punk has already kind of admitted that he's already kind of like on his last. This is his last run. He's already admitted these things. He's already admitted that he's a veteran. He's already admitted about his age. It's not something he's ashamed of. He's always embraced it. And then all of a sudden, Roman Reigns calls him old. What? And that makes Punk go violent. Everything else he took on the chin, but Roman calls him old, and that throws him over the line. So personally, I didn't buy it. I know it was. I know. Booking wise, they were like, "Oh, well, Roman's got to win this one." Punk won the last one, right? Punk won the last promo, so Roman's got to come back. Roman's got to win this week, right? That's what it's going to be, tit for tat. I just thought that they should have come up with something better for Roman to win with. If they wanted Roman to win the promo exchange, not that I think he ever really can personally, but in the storyline, they wanted him to win the promo exchange. Then they needed to come up with something more effective for Roman to say, rather than, "Oh, you're old." I thought it was weak. That's why this week for me it was not a good one. The last two were good, so I'm still up for the match. But I thought this week was by far the weakest of the three interactions. Personally, what about you guys?
I agree with you. I think this week's was a regression. I do agree that they needed to have a mic off in the middle of the ring. Obviously, they could have used some better material, especially from Roman's side, considering we still haven't had a proper rebuttal for his dead father and hit that comment. I think they would have been better off just having a one-off Solo Sikoa kind of coming along, spiking him, kind of going, we're back to normal after this, but this is for the family, and walking out. I think that would have had a more lasting effect, because the line that pissed off Samoans would have continued. And ultimately, I think, as you said, the only line that could have been dropped that would be comparable is either something to do with Punk's pipe bomb and him crying like a little bitch and taking his ball home, or something about Larry. But I think, definitely they dropped the ball on the verbal exchange, and I think it made Roman look weak.
I agree. Alan, what did you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think this was definitely a regression. I've never been taken up on Roman Reigns' promo ability. That's why Paul Heyman was always there. And this kind of proves it to me. I mean, I didn't get the whole old thing. I don't think CM Punk would have been too bothered about that. He grows his beard out. You can see the man's, silver. The wisdom's there. So didn't buy it. Should have gone a different route. As hopefully as I would have mentioned Larry. Poor little Larry.
Maybe they are still going to do it. Maybe they think they need to save it for the week before WrestleMania. Maybe they think, oh, it's too early in the feud. Still, there's still another 4 weeks, whatever.
Yeah, could be that.
They think they need that because I'm pretty sure that will cut that line, unless Punk is like, and there's no way I'm going to let you do it. But I think he probably will. He generally will do business. He himself doesn't mind bringing shoot aspects, so I'm sure that he will probably allow it. Maybe they just figured that it was too soon for Roman to kind of go that low, because that obviously would be the low blow back. Or maybe Roman didn't want to do it. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe Roman was just like, you know what? If you guys are trying to make me the babyface in the feud, then I can't stoop to Punk's levels. Maybe that's part of it as well. Maybe Roman was just like, if I'm going to be the babyface of the two, which it looks like they're generally going for, then you can't let me stoop to his level. Otherwise I won't be the babyface that you want me to be in the feud. If I say that, I'm going to be just as bad as he is. So maybe Roman put the condition on it. We'll never know.
Well, that then tells me they should have gone down the line of another Samoan from the family come along and punking Roman, or punking Punk out, and just kind of giving a slight nod to Roman and then leaving, because he put the call out to all Samoans, all of the family. So, like, if you need to keep him from saying heel shit, have, stuff like that happen. And maybe have Punk in a gauntlet 2 weeks before WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was expecting him to start having singles matches with the Usos, and the fact that maybe they want to wrap Punk up in cotton wool. Maybe they're so scared with all the injuries they've had. Maybe they're so scared that he gets injured. It'll ruin their main event. That they're really selling the whole show on that main event. Michael Cole obviously won't stop saying it's one of the biggest, which we'll get to in a second. Cole won't stop shilling that. So maybe they don't want Punk wrestling. Maybe Punk isn't going to wrestle again till WrestleMania. Maybe they're just too obviously he's on the older side now. Can't risk him getting injured. Otherwise, we're totally boned if he gets injured. Our main event's completely ruined. So maybe he's not going to be fighting. I thought he was going to be fighting the Usos for the next couple of weeks. That's what I thought was going to be happening, having singles matches against the Usos just to tide him over. But Apparently not. Apparently it might just be a bunch more promos, and that's okay. I'm not saying that can't work. But I do think that they need to be careful that they don't kind of not overcook it. But if next week they just have another promo exchange, I think they need to mix it up in some way. I'd probably have Punk versus one of the Usos. Reigns gets involved, maybe costs Punk the match if you want to do that, or maybe inadvertently costs one of the Usos. They need to do something rather than just every week, just those two. I think they've done 3 in a row now. They need to now do something else for a week or two before they then go back to the promo part as the last part of the build. They need to do something else in the build now because we've had 3 weeks of it.
Yeah, Punk versus Jimmy.
They just need to switch it up a bit because I think that's why this week maybe was a little bit weak because it's not that they're running out of stuff to say, but they need something else to happen before they go to the next chapter. It just seems like maybe they're stalling a little bit now, which is the problem with making WrestleMania so late this year. They've got so many more weeks now where they have to fill out between Chamber and WrestleMania. Yeah, more weeks than normal, right? Okay, so there's about 20 minutes left of the show, so we'll move on to something that did happen on Raw, which was SmackDown's Randy Orton. A little bit out of place because he's meant to be on SmackDown, but I guess the brand split is kind of here nor there really anymore, is it? Obviously, he was meant to be doing a backstage interview with Michael Cole, and Orton was on the phone to somebody. Now, of course, this was all planned out. They wanted the mystery to be out there. I have my theory. I've heard other people's theories, but I haven't heard Alan and Rebel's theory. So, do you want my theory first, or do one of you chaps want to give me an idea about who you think's on the other end of the line to Randy Orton?
Well, I can tell you who it's not.
Who's that then?
Ted DiBiase Jr.
Oh,
damn!
Unless he does the whole Dominic Mysterio thing from WrestleMania a couple of years ago.
That is a low blow, Alan, but nicely done.
Sorry.
No. Yes, it won't be Ted DiBiase Jr. You're right about that.
It's a shame because that would have gone full circle, being legacy members.
That would be that's a missed opportunity. Ted could have got himself one last payday if he wasn't in trouble.
Exactly. He should have been a good boy. Stop with all the fraudulent stuff, and he could have got a nice, legitimate bit of money there. Thanks, Ted.
Yeah. For me, it's one player and one player only. He's the dirtiest player in the game. He's styling. He's profiling. Rick Flair.
Wow. Okay, that's
okay.
Bringing Flair back. I don't know. Flair's kind of gone a bit crazy the last year or two. Some of the stuff that Flair. I don't know if you want to put him back on TV. I'd be very worried about putting Ric Flair back with a live microphone. That's all I'm saying about that. The guy's gone a bit crazy, bless him. Okay, Alan. Then go on. Then give us a name. Is that a legit? Is that what you think? Then
no, it's definitely it won't be Ted. And I'd love it to be Ted because, as I said, it will come full circle. The legacy members all together. Damn. Is it Jericho?
Family references last there, though, isn't it?
Hmm.
What about Aaron Anderson?
On Anderson.
He's got a history. He's got a history with Cody.
True.
On Anderson's got a history with Cody.
And on Anderson doesn't work AEW anymore.
Yeah, whoever it is, it needs to have a history with at least one of them, if not both. But at least one of them, there needs to be history for this to make sense.
Yeah, on Anderson's a good call.
It's not a bad one. I'm going to go with. Now, me saying this means that we have to rely on him again, and I think he proved last year that he's not reliable. So this worries me if they.
Got Travis Scott.
No, it's going to be the final boss. That was my thought. My thought was that there's still unfinished business with The Rock and Cody. The Rock is meant to be wrestling next year at WrestleMania. The Saudis want him either against Cody or against Reigns. Is the 2 matches apparently that they're thinking of. So this gets him back. If it is going to be Cody, then this would do the next chapter of the kind of Rock final boss feud, which has been on and off for like 3 years now. But the problem I've got with it personally is that The Rock last time dropped the ball. Now, even though I think Cena played his own role in why his heel turn didn't work, because I don't think he embraced it enough personally. That's my opinion. But it wasn't helped by The Rock not showing up. As soon as The Rock said, I'll do the turn, and then I ain't. As soon as The Rock said I ain't showing up at WrestleMania, Cena's heel turn was more or less dead in the water after that. I am apprehensive about relying on The Rock again, but it makes sense in my mind that it would be him to kind of choose Orton to try and get the belt off Cody, just like he did with Cena.
I have one issue with that, and I want to put it to you to see how you navigate it. We currently have the Samoan heat with CM Punk. Is it not more likely that The Rock would be involved in some element with that storyline rather than putting himself in a storyline where while it makes sense given the heat with Cody, just completely ignores the obvious comment about one of his relatives and the linkages there.
Yeah, he could play a role in that. And yes, that The Rock was obviously very defensive. We all remember the press conference when they were building up to the WrestleMania tag match with The Rock and Roman versus Seth and Cody, and that was all started because Cody insulted his family. So yes, storyline wise, bang on. You could say the Punk went a lot further than Cody Rhodes did, but Cody Rhodes just said, "Oh no, my family's important as well." And Punk obviously took it to another level. So you're right. But I also remember Punk also saying to Roman a couple of weeks ago, "Oh, it was okay when you called out my one of my idols, one of my trainers, also my best friend Cody Rhodes' dad as well. It was okay when you called out Dusty and said the bad things about him," which Roman had no rebuttal for, by the way. The Roman actually more or less said the same thing about Dusty Rhodes as he said about Sika. So very, very good stuff from Punk there. Like I say, he's very good at this stuff. So I could see, though I don't think there's going to be a tag match. I don't see The Rock wrestling. Rock's not going to wrestle until next WrestleMania. He won't be involved in any kind of wrestling capacity. But an appearance, I could see maybe. But Rebel makes a valid point. If The Rock would show up to cost Cody the belt and not go after Punk as well, that would be a big plot hole for sure. The only other person I've heard it mentioned, and I think this would be very, very disappointing for all of us. It might be a big deal for Orton because it'd be his family, but I think if it ended up being him, I think we'd all be like, no. And that's Cowboy Bob Orton.
Well, it could link to that because obviously what the comment Randy Orton made at the end of that segment was, wrestling has more than one royal family. Yes.
But
So
is he referring to his own family, or is he referring to The Rock and the whole Samoan stuff?
Yeah,
because that was a feud with Cody Rhodes, who was
the Nature Boy.
Yeah, I mean, they're all valid. We're all given valid people, I think.
Yeah.
There's also one on the internet interweb speculation list, and that is the House of Black, Aleister Black. It's weak.
It's been alluded to because Black has been playing the Karrion Kross role, and that is there, and it could end up being. I think though, if it ends up being, I do think there'll be a little bit of a. I expected. And it's not Aleister Black's fault. It's just that because he hasn't really been protected enough, in my opinion, where he's not at that level yet. But maybe this is a way they're going to try and, if they were to actually properly align him with Orton, like a permanent alliance with Orton, that would do a lot of wonders for him. Whether or not Orton wants to start up another faction again, like he did with Legacy all those years ago, maybe Orton, Aleister Black, and maybe they could add another member or two. I wouldn't be against it. Aleister Black, I like Aleister Black. I think he does need to be raised up, but it doesn't. The family stuff doesn't make sense though. That's the part that's just like that part with Black doesn't make sense. For use the word family, so that line about more than royal family, that it's got to mean either his family, which obviously would be his dad, or it's got to be another wrestling family. So who does that? Who So what? One of the Samoans, which would be The Rock, in my opinion, who's got beef with Cody. Who else could it be? Cody Rhodes is. I heard a crazy rumor that people think it's going to be Dustin Rhodes.
Contract with AEW till 2030, so that's out.
Yeah,
is that out? Okay,
yeah, he's out. He's shown no interest in going back to the WWE.
That would be a bad move because even though Dustin's still active, bless him, I don't think that he should be on. He shouldn't be feuding with his brother like in main events. I think that that's probably not.
Well, there is history there. When do you remember the whole Stardust, Goldust transformation.
Yeah. There's definitely story there, but
Not a great one.
Definitely not. I prefer to avoid it too.
none of the options fill me with that much excitement. I don't really want to see Cowboy Bob Orton. Like I say, it might be a big deal for Randy Orton to have his dad there. I get that part. But for the rest of us, I don't think any of us really.
There's one we haven't touched.
Who's that?
And obviously he won't be able to get involved in the ring. But Hunter and the McMahons. Now that the big boss man is cleared of his issues, whether or not he's actually innocent or not is beside the point, but could they try and reincorporate the McMahons in some element?
Oh God, I hope not. I hope
Yeah,
not.
yeah, I hope not.
I
Triple H can't do anything anymore because he's obviously got serious heart problems.
Yeah, and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon generally, they are not involved and haven't been for many years on camera roles. I mean, Stephanie McMahon hosts Saturday Night's Main Event, doesn't she? And she's got a podcast now. And obviously Triple H is now the kind of face of WWE, isn't he? He's a CEO. He's the guy who does all the build up and all the press conferences. So none of them really have shown any kind of desire to get back into that. And they're old as well. They are. It's like, so Triple H can't go, like Alan says. Stephanie McMahon is showing her age. So I don't think that she's not going to get involved physically either. Shane McMahon, I don't think he's wanted around the parts anymore. There was rumours apparently that Shane McMahon couldn't even get a seat, if those rumours are to be believed, that he tried to get a seat in the WF event and they wouldn't give him the seat. If that stuff's true, then he's been completely blackballed from the WWE. So I think it's a long shot, Rebel. I mean, you can never say never, but I think it's a long shot just to where they are in their careers. That's what I'd say. Alan, what do you say?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it'd be a McMahon. There's not enough physicality in that family. I don't think there never has been really. I mean, look at you saw how Vince used to take stunners, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And Linda McMahon was as stiff as a board, like the way she took the tombstone from Kane. That was
None of them are particularly physically gifted. Like I say, Triple H was okay in the ring.
Yeah.
But
so I'm not entirely sure what they're going to go with the Orton thing because his dad's like 75 or something.
Yeah.
What's Bob Orton going to do?
He'll come out with a cast. The gimmick is that Orton's got the cast. So
of course, yeah,
he'll come up with a cast. But I don't know. I don't see. Like I say, unless Orton wants to kind of do it for his dad, give his dad one last payday or give his dad one last moment in the sun. I suppose that would be maybe a present for his dad. Maybe Orton would want to do that. But the wrestling fans, I think if it ended up being Cowboy Bob Orton, firstly, you'd get like 90% of the current audience saying, "Who's that?" Which is true. Most people wouldn't even know who he is. Not anymore.
Could you consider Evolution as a royal family of wrestling? Are they alluding to maybe a Batista bomb in the middle of it somewhere?
Oh, I think Batista's too involved in Hollywood now.
But like you're talking about, come on, Batista bomb in the build-up, and kind of that's it. Are they alluding to kind of the Evolutions kind of stream of things?
I mean, Batista would have to cover up a lot because he's lost a lot of muscle mass now.
He's much smaller.
Same as The Rock, actually. The Rock's lost a lot of muscle mass. I saw a picture of The Rock recently and Batista, and they look unwell.
Interesting. I haven't seen pictures of The Rock lately. Or if he's that small, then maybe that.
Yeah, The Rock has lost a lot of muscle mass as well. So if he wants WrestleMania next year, he needs to get on with it. He really does.
Well, if the Saudis are going to pay him what the rumored money is, most people don't turn down that kind of money, even The Rock.
No, of course not. No, The Rock wouldn't do that. But it would be good to see Batista. I would like to see Batista in the ring. I did enjoy him in the ring. But I thought his Hollywood career is taking providence over everything else.
Maybe we are maybe all of us are overanalyzing it. Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, the Rock looking like Greg Wallace now.
Yeah. Maybe we are over-analyzing it a bit. Maybe Rebel's right. Maybe it's just going to be the simple storyline, that the obvious storyline, which is that it is Alexa Black. and Aleister Black was in his ear, as we know, and Aleister Black has been kind of like telling Orton to be true to himself, and Orton was kind of not wanting to do it.
And if they want a third man in the stable, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn finally turns over. He gives in to what Karrion Kross was on about all that that year ago, I guess.
I'd see KO as being the more likely third man, to be honest with you.
Sorry, who?
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens, yeah, he's cheap. He'd be due back soon, and he's been off for a year.
The thing that wouldn't make sense with that one, though, Rebel, is that if you remember, he was in a feud with Randy Orton before he got injured. Sorry, he was meant to face Orton at last year's WrestleMania, and then couldn't do it. And that's what. So for him, even though it wasn't Orton and he technically injured him, I don't think storyline wise, they'd have to do a lot of like. Hold on a sec. 1 minute he hated him last year, but now he's back. It's just like, so why is he? But obviously, Owens did have a history with Cody Rhodes. Obviously, he had a big feud with Cody Rhodes. So there is history with obviously Owens and Cody that would make sense. Owens would be like, well, yeah, I said Cody was the golden boy all along. And now finally, Randy, you're seeing exactly what I saw about Cody's the golden boy, he gets all the chances, because that's kind of the narrative they've been going with, that Cody keeps going getting. That's what Sami Zayn's been saying as well. Cody keeps on getting all these opportunities, he keeps on getting preferential treatment and stuff like that. Okay, the last topic, because we've only got like 6 or 7 minutes left. The last topic quickly. So Punk and, as Michael Cole loves to shield to us every opportunity he gets, Punk and Roman is one of the biggest WrestleMania main events of all time. So my question to you guys is, what is there can be two answers or they can be the same. What is the biggest WrestleMania main event to you? And what is your favorite WrestleMania main event? They might not be one and the same.
Yeah, go for it. Okay. To me, it will be the first one I ever saw. Hogan versus Warrior, WrestleMania 6. Titan versus Titan, champion versus champion. Yeah. That for me, that was the biggest main event, because those two were the icons of the old WWF. Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior. You saw them everywhere: magazines, toys, curtains, duvets, everything had Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior on. They were the face of the WWF. For me, WrestleMania 6.
And what's that? That was, but that was probably the biggest match to you then. Biggest match. What was that? Your favorite WrestleMania main event?
My favorite WrestleMania main event. Do you know? I'm actually not sure I even have a favorite, to be honest.
It can be just based upon what you enjoyed the most, or it could be based upon match quality.
Okay, yeah. Do you know what? This is nowhere near the greatest wrestling match of all time. But I've got a soft spot. I have a soft spot, and it's WrestleMania 8, Hogan versus Sid. I love the fact that they did. Sid did the pre-match attack, the pre-bell attack.
Yeah.
And then halfway through the match, they did the exact same spot again, like move for move.
And that's what you liked about it, Alan. Lovely.
And then the fact that Hogan drops a leg on Sid, 1-2, Sid has to kick out because Papa Shango missed his mark.
Yeah.
The aisle was too long for Papa Shango, so Hogan's stunned, thinking, "What the hell?" And Sid was the first man to kick out of the Hogan leg drop because of Papa Shango. Thank you, Papa.
Rebel, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next?
I'll go next. Mine is one that was known as the Streak versus the Career match. WrestleMania 25. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. No disqualifications, no DQs, no countouts. And basically, they told a story there. Like, there's been a lot of great Undertaker versus the Streak matches, or Streak versus whatever matches. Like, we've had Michaels tried it twice or 3 times. We had Triple H try it. We had the Brothers of Destruction fighting each other. But like, that told a great story in what should have probably been the end of Shawn Michaels' career. I'm not sure that we got a lot of value of the whole comeback thing with Hunter and Kane versus and Undertaker versus them in kind of the sunsetting of Triple H's in-ring career.
Yeah.
But the finish to that match, the jumping tombstone pile driver, and then the moments of respect. Like, I remember when I watched Undertaker kind of walk out of some of his final WrestleMania matches. Like, he was nearly dazed and tired, but like, you can tell a great story. Like Shawn Michaels when he super kicked Ric Flair and was saying "I'm sorry" and was nearly crying as he was doing it. What should have been the end of Ric Flair's career, but unfortunately it wasn't. Those stories and those farewells, those moments you get, like when they're done right and when they're set right, they're beautiful moments in wrestling. And it's kind of like that final connection between the fans and the character that person has played for their entire life. Like, there is no more Undertaker. Like, when he comes out, he's not the Undertaker per se anymore. Yeah. So I think there's a lot to be said for that match and the way they told that story, because it was a brilliant match.
Does that go alongside? Is that your favorite match as well, or is that the biggest match, like the biggest kind of like the biggest match you think, or is that just your favorite, or are they one and the same? Or do they both take that moniker for you?
Well, like, I suppose anything that was to do with the Taker, I kind of would have lapped up back in the day. In terms of favorite moments, I suppose it was a big thing for an actual Irish person, Sheamus, kind of having a squash match in WrestleMania where he done in the Yes movement. But yeah, that match for me probably was because I didn't have access to wrestling as much when you did, even though I'm similar vintage to you. It wasn't available to me. That would probably be one of my kind of first manias where I had proper access to it back in, well, actually, no, what am I saying? That was 2010. It had been kind of the earlier manias that I'd have had access to. And obviously, though, there was plenty of Kane and Taker matches kind of in the previous 19 years. But yeah, that's definitely up there amongst my top ever for WrestleMania.
I think for me, I do have two categories. I think for me, the happiest moment in WrestleMania main events, there's two. Even though I don't think that they were the best matches, though one of them was a very good match, and that is I had certain guys who were my guy, and then normally they would be replaced. Randy Savage was my first ever favorite wrestler, so seeing him win the title at WrestleMania 4 was a big deal for me. Of course, he had to win it thanks to Hogan. Hogan, of course, had to be there like the stench that Hogan was, trying to overshadow him. But nonetheless, it was still Randy Savage's moment. And Randy Savage was a damn good champion as well. He held the belt for a year. He was a damn good champion as well. The rumors were that the house show business actually increased slightly. Hogan wouldn't ever tell you that, but apparently it did. So Savage was far from a failure as a champion. But the storyline had already been put in place. Savage knew that he was dropping it back to Hogan at WrestleMania 5. It was already all agreed. But apparently, Savage was a really good champion. Which leads me on to the other person that I am going to mention them, but there's a lot of stigma with them, rightfully so, because I can't defend the man's actions, nor would I attempt to. But I was a massive Chris Benoit fan at the time. So to see him finally get his due, because he was the best technical wrestler for a period of time. At the time, he was when he won it, and even though he couldn't cut a promo to save his life and stuff like that, and I know this, but he was somebody I rooted for in WCW when he was Chris Benoit in WCW. So to see him go through the early days of WCW, to see him rise up, and to finally get the world title in a really good match against Triple H and Shawn Michaels, in a great match at Madison Square Garden at WrestleMania 20, and then afterwards him and Eddie Guerrero both holding up their world titles. The whole thing was, I was the happiest probably I've been at a WrestleMania main event, because obviously the Savage stuff I didn't see live because I didn't get into wrestling too much after. So I had to go back and watch it on tape. But as a live moment, no WrestleMania left me feeling as good as WrestleMania 20 did after Benoit won the title. Unfortunately, of course, it's all been a little tarnished for me. Of course it has. How can it not be? But at the time, I can only go with how I was feeling. So that for me was my favorite. As for the biggest, I got two selections because they're two of the best storylines that WF's ever done. I'm going to put this at second place, but the Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes Avengers match, as I call it, where the baby faces all come out one at a time to repel the heels. Then The Rock gets involved, and then The Undertaker comes out. If that would have been Steve Austin instead of The Undertaker, that would have been the only thing that could have topped it. It should have been Austin, not The Undertaker, who did that. But Austin didn't want to do it.
Agreed.
That would have been the only thing that would have made that better, because it should have been Austin was always The Rock's biggest rival, not The Undertaker. So that should have been the only thing I would have changed. But that was the culmination of technically the 4 years Reigns had been champion for, and certainly the 2-year build with him and Cody, because obviously Cody didn't win it the year before. So that was a very long-term storytelling, because I like long-term storytelling. But my number one, despite me despising who won this match, and Alan probably knows where I'm going to go, I despise the fact, the ending of that match. But the best storyline is the Mega Powers explode. As a kid, I was absolutely... Because Savage was my favorite wrestler. And even though Savage was meant to be the heel, and I do use the term meant in quotations, because he was saying all things about Hogan lusting over Elizabeth, which he was. I don't care what the storyline... I don't care what...
Lost in his black heart.
Exactly. Savage for me was the babyface in the feud. I don't care what anyone tells me. But of course, Hogan had to get his win, had to win the belt. And I hated the finish and I hated all that stuff. But for pure emotion, especially when I was watching it on VHS, because again, I did, this was before I became a wrestling fan, so it was all via VHS. I remember watching it and I was so engulfed in that match, because I'd watched all the other pay-per-views beforehand. And then I was like, surely Savage is going to beat him. Savage is going to beat him. And then my heart broke, but that's still the biggest match and the best storyline I've ever seen, even if I don't agree with the ending of the storyline, because Savage should have won. That's what I think. So that's WrestleMania. WrestleMania 5 main event is my favorite. Yeah, that's the biggest match to me. It's not the best match, although for a Hogan match, it is a very good match for a Hogan match. That's the biggest match.
Yeah, definitely one of the best matches.
I think if you look at the box office records, I think it is Andre versus Hogan. I don't think really just box office wise, I don't think anything is going to top Hogan versus Andre. Probably the only one I can think that came close was WrestleMania 17, Austin versus The Rock. That's the only one I think that you can say, well, maybe that one, just on pure box office and pure star power, Austin and The Rock at WrestleMania 17 when they were both baby faces. That's the one where Austin stupidly turns heel and sides with Vince McMahon, thus killing the Attitude. That was the night the Attitude Era died. So that one, you could arguably say, box office wise, that and Hogan versus Andre probably are the two biggest matches. So we're very quickly, because we'll run over. Where does Punk versus Reigns really, in comparison to some of those matches we've just spoken about, is it anywhere near the top? Really?
No. Like, when you think of visualizations like HBK, who's the special guest referee, carrying out Undertaker and Triple H on his shoulders after they bludgeoned each other in 2012 at WrestleMania 28, you think of the matches he mentioned. Punk and Roman isn't even in the same stratosphere.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
Can I do a quick side quest after, by the way?
Okay.
Because there's rumors that there's 2 people arriving from New Japan, and maybe this is going to be the kickstart for Shinsuke. But I don't know if you're familiar with these 2 men.
Oh, Evil.
I know of them. I haven't seen loads of their work, if I'm honest, but I know of them. Yeah.
So Evil and Hiromu Takanashi, and I apologize if I've absolutely butchered that, but apparently they are both rumored to be signing with WWE as their next imports. That was showing up in the last 24 hours.
We'll have to see if they might hold off on them until after WrestleMania and do the whole night after WrestleMania debut. Or maybe not, but...
Evil, they'll be marked for the main roster, but Hiromu, they want to put in NXT, apparently.
I'm always dubious about the Japanese guys coming over here, not because I have anything against them, but because I know their track record. I mean, even Shinsuke Nakamura, who I was convinced was going to be a world champion and everything like that. You saw him in NXT, and the way the crowd reacted to Nakamura in NXT. You thought, well, this surely isn't. This is a this is a guaranteed guy who's going to win the world title, right? They're going to break the trend and finally have a proper Japan. No, Yokozuna doesn't count because Yokozuna was Samoan for the record. They're going to, we're going to probably have a proper Japanese world champion, but even Nakamura couldn't break that duck. So I'm always a bit dubious about their chances, just knowing how this company is. I mean, yeah, Vince isn't there anymore, true, but they don't have a great track record of doing that much with their Japanese stars. I mean, you can say what Asuka has done okay, I guess.
Yeah, Sky's done all right.
Io Sky is probably the best of probably gets the most love of the bunch of them. That they just don't seem to translate well over here, and I don't know if it is because of the language barrier. Maybe they struggle with the promo side of professional wrestling, which in the WWE is probably the most important, I think, thing you have to have. If you can't talk, unless they're going to give you some managers, which they barely use anymore, then you're going to struggle. So I don't know.
What we saw with Asuka is she kind of died in the COVID era. She had the whole nobody's ready for Asuka, and I don't think her promos came along as much as they would have hoped. Do you remember there was the girl, she had the sword and she used to do the kind of flippy shit when she came out on her entrance in NXT? She kind of irritated. Like, they do well in NXT, and then when you bring them up to the big show, they seem to struggle in terms of that fan engagement part outside of the ring. Like, obviously they're supremely talented within the ring, and you get to see some unique spots that you probably wouldn't imagine for, we'd say, some of the other wrestlers. But as you said, it seems like WWE as a company hasn't been able to utilize them, because look at some of the big names that show up in AEW, like the biggest names from Japanese and wrestling. They seem to get across there, whereas WWE never manages to do a sustained event. So it'd be interesting to see if those careers kind of diminish a bit, like the other names you mentioned.
Yeah, I think in AEW is much less reliant on promos, so they're allowed to just kind of, because Tony Khan obviously like he likes putting on the long matches. Most of his shows are filled with matches, not promos, which is fine. I'm not saying that's wrong. Some people like that stuff. Some people want a bit more entertainment and less of the actual wrestling. But I think that in AEW that they are given the opportunity to get over by these long ass matches that they're putting. They're not required to really cut promos anywhere near as often. In the WWE, sorry, keep doing that. If you can't cut a promo, I honestly believe that you have a ceiling. I'm not saying you can't have a role, but you have a ceiling. If you can't cut a promo, you've got a ceiling, and the evidence is all over the place. And I'm not saying everyone's got to be Paul Heyman or everyone's got to be a CM Punk promo, right? Because those are or someone's got to be The Rock. You don't need to be. You can be a big star and not be that good, but you need to be at least of a certain level. Like I don't think Seth Rollins is an amazing promo, but he can have his moments. Roman Reigns was a terrible promo as a babyface. He's found his niche a bit more as a heel. I still don't think he's an amazing promo, but he can have his moments, especially as a heel.
The MFTs are terrible as promos.
Yeah. So if you can't cut a promo, you are not going to ever get past. In my opinion, you don't get past the mid card. You just don't.
Can I ask you if it's something that'd be kind of quite poignant to finish on? Have WWE dropped the ball with Jacob Fatu?
His aura's definitely diminished a little, isn't it?
I don't think he should be a babyface. I think he should be a heel. I don't think he's suited to be a babyface.
Yeah, me too.
Personally,
I think he's much better as a heel.
But in terms of the promos, then, do you believe with a mic in his hand that he could cut a satisfactory promo as a heel?
Alan, do you want to go first on this?
Yeah, I think he as a heel, I think he does cut a good enough promo. I think, he gets the old, get in where you fit in, and yada me in, whatever it is. So all that stuff works as a heel.
I think Rebel used the right word. Is he adequate? Yes, but I don't know if adequate is enough. I think you need to be at least good. If there's different levels, and we've got guys like The Rock and Steve Austin and CM Punk and Paul Heyman, and that list will be different for all of us, right? We've got different. We like slightly different guys, but there's an upper echelon, And then there's like you need to be at least the rung under to really be a proper main eventer. But you can't be the rung under that because you will never get to the main event. And if you do get to the main event, you'll never stay there. I just gave you a great example of Chris Benoit, an amazing wrestler. Dude couldn't cut a promo. Was he in the main event? He had one main event match, if maybe two max. He won the title at WrestleMania, then was a mid-card champion whilst Triple H was feuding with Eugene. That went on after him, right? And then he dropped the belt to Orton 5 months later. So that's a perfect example. If you haven't got the promo, you can never be a permanent main eventer. You might have a match here and there. You might be allowed to flirt with it, but you'll never be somebody they run with if you can't cut at least a B-level promo. I don't know if Jacob Fatu can cut a B level. I know that he can't cut an A level. I've seen no evidence that he can cut an A level promo. I don't know if he can even cut the B level, which is what I think is the minimum requirement to be at the top of the card. I'm not sure he can. I haven't seen it yet anyway. Not yet.
No.
That answers your question, Rebel. Right, guys. I guess so. We have gone over a little bit. It's now nearly 1:15, so I guess we'll leave it there. We did have another topic, but we can save that for next time. We'll go over that one next time. We'll add it to the list for next show. But yeah, I want to thank my two guests, Alan and Rebel. If you want to say goodbye, guys, and then I'll plug for some stuff, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, ta-ta, toodle pip.
As I say in Ireland, Iava August Fekimehu and Morach.
Exactly. And you guys want to plug anything, Rebel? Where can people find you on the agenda? I know you're on the United Agenda. If you're in United,
yeah, you can find me on the Main Agenda. If you want to talk about football, you can find me on Kerry_Rebel on the Twitter machine, and obviously here on the No Sell podcast. Plus, spoiler alert, I do want to have a big, massive bashing session on a certain games company.
We are waiting for the fourth member, who is also a member of this channel, Com. When he is free, all four of us will get together, and at least 3 out of 4 of us will be bashing the game, I think. One of us might try and defend it. I won't give any names. We'll have to wait and see. It's maybe not. I don't know how it's going to be. Maybe. But there's going to be a lot of bashing. Yeah, we do need to talk about it. And that will be on the Play Pouch at some point, which is the channel you can find me and Alan on, theplaypouch.com. And Rebel will be coming on to talk about that game in particular. So look out for that. Like I say, we need to get Com. Com's the one we need to get on. When Com's free, we'll organise it, and we'll definitely talk about WWE 2K26 and its questionable decisions that it's made.
Yes.
So find us on the Play Pouch, find Rebel on the Man United Agenda. Yes, but that's it for us. We'll be back next week at 7 like normal. We're talking about next week's Raw, I'm sure, and we'll have a couple more topics for you discussing the week in pro wrestling. So yeah, please do join us then. My name is Nick. That was Alan. That was Rebelhausen. And we will see you all next time. Yeah, take care, and yeah, we'll see you later. Bye for now.